Tonight on CTV News, we take a closer look at the Catholic Basilica and warnings for ocean users. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Emily Cooper. The Catholic Basilica on Barbados Street took another hit after Monday's quake. I went along today to take a closer look and ask what the future is for this iconic Christchurch building. The Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament on Barbados Street has suffered further damage from Monday's quakes. This additional damage has heightened safety issues.
Oh yes, there's some major safety issues. Now the contractors have to actually come from above the dome rather than working alongside it. After Monday's shake, the cathedral has moved, or the dome has moved further, so the workers now will cut off the dome above the dome as against working alongside. It's just too dangerous now to actually work alongside the dome and even inside portions of the dome.
New strategies have now been put in place to remove the dome. The plan had been to remove the dome in one piece, but further damage to areas supporting the dome has further weakened the building.
The future of the dome, it will be cut off into 4 sections at this stage and removed down to ground level. We were within 2 weeks of getting the dome off in one piece, unfortunately when last Monday's earthquake came in, it's now just made it too unsafe to work up there. It's in a perilous state, so we'll actually take the dome off, and then the second section, you can see with the windows, will be cut up into sections and brought down to ground level.
The additional damage has also meant the rear portion of the building will have to be demolished, and it's unsure how badly damaged the inside is.
We've got plans for the future. We've got to look at all these bits and pieces, but we want to really get inside the nave, which is the centrepiece of the cathedral, and just see what structural damage is in there. No one's actually been inside there except for the drone that went in 2 weeks ago. So once we're inside the nave of the church, we can actually see exactly where we're heading.
Work began today and is expected to take approximately 6 weeks, weather and further aftershocks permitting, to remove the top portion of the dome structure. And they will try and save as much of the iconic building as possible.
Well, we're going to try and save as much of it as we can at this stage, but until the engineers have a good look over the whole structure of it. Unfortunately, we will have to deconstruct the back portion of the cathedral right down to ground level where the sacristy is, and just see what we can do from there.
It's hoped a similar looking building will be on the site in the future.
In 20 years' time, I hope we see something saved, what we've got at the moment. But as I say, we live in changing times in Christchurch now, and I'm sure that there'll be strict earthquake codes come into the future, so a lot of work will have to be put in to make the whatever we save strong for the future. Those days are still with us, as I say, we've got architects working on that at the moment just to sort of give us lots of ideas, so there'll be plenty of, it is a historic places building, and we've got to take into account all those facets of that.
A further 63 properties on the Port Hills have received red placards this week as a result of Monday's aftershocks, and assessments are still being carried out on the extent of the damage. The earthquakes on Monday caused significant extra rockfall in the Port Hills, and geotechnical engineers have been working this week to reassess the danger. People using the Port Hills were asked to keep away from cliff edges and fenced areas and follow advice on warning or danger signs. Geotechnical engineers will continue to issue red placards on houses that are considered dangerous. Residents will be updated as work continues, and for specific requests, you can email porthillsgeotech@ccc.govt.nz or visit the Port Hills section online at www.ccc.govt.nz/earthquakes. At 3 o'clock on Sunday morning, a male pedestrian was hit by a motor vehicle in Springfield. The pedestrian received fatal injuries as a result. Police inquiries are continuing. And on a lighter note, the Valentine's clearance sale has been labelled a huge success. Thousands turned out last week and over the weekend to grab themselves some earthquake bargains. Managing Director of Valentine's, Mary Devine, said that the clearance was an integral part of the company's recovery following the February earthquake and a big stride forward to its goal of opening again in the central city on October the 29th as part of City Mall Restart. Over 125,000 items were on sale and there was little left over. Valentine's estimates that over 18,000 people visited the CBS Canterbury Arena during the clearance. And Valentine's is planning a couple of other special events in the coming months. Coming up after the break, we look at what's going on in the red zone and warnings to those still using the sea around Christchurch for leisure activities. Welcome back. Health warnings are in place about swimming in the sea in the areas of Christchurch, but this hasn't deterred keen surfers and fishers, as Adrian Taylor found out.
Since the February earthquake, crippled sewage treatment plants have resulted in raw sewage being pumped into Christchurch waterways. Health officials have warned against any contact with potentially contaminated water at beaches, rivers and other waterways in and around the city. This warning was reiterated after last Monday's aftershocks, with health officials saying the risk of a gastroenteritis outbreak is extremely high. But excellent surfing conditions has proven too tempting for surfers, with a number of city surfers taking the risk. Ferrymead Exit Surf Shop surfing representative Ben Lubbers says the surf since February has been some of the best he has ever seen at the city beaches.
To be honest, since February the 22nd, it's probably the best season I can remember for end of summer surfing.
Because of this, a number of surfers have been ignoring the warnings.
There's probably at least 10 guys I know that are surfing Sumner and New Brighton regularly. They haven't got sick yet, but it's certainly not a risk I'd be willing to take.
Exit Surf owner Kerry Bennett says those who have opted not to surf at the city beaches have discovered new spots outside of the contamination zone.
But they're finding there's actually more gutsy waves, as it were, further afield.
A decision by health officials and the Christchurch City Council on whether the warning will be lifted is expected soon.
People are being warned against a European-based mobile loan service. Finnish firm Ferriton Group has launched its first Asia-Pacific branch in New Zealand, offering cash-strapped Kiwis a quick-fix solution to urgent financial problems. Those looking for ready money can text the company or register online to access their first draw of cash. First-time borrowers can initially receive up to $200 and up to $600 maximum for verified customers. The Director and Country Manager of Ferriton New Zealand, Richard Yoon, says the company allocates individual PIN numbers to customers. He says this kind of access to emergency cash has been hugely beneficial to customers across Europe. However, experts are warning against the loans and advise people to look at other options before taking on the high-interest loans, and that the quick fix money scheme is simply too good to be true. And V-Base has confirmed it's downsizing the company as a result of impacts from the February earthquake. It will also transfer governance and management control to the Christchurch City Council. V-Base owns and manages Christchurch Convention Centre, Christchurch Town Hall, AMI Stadium and CBS Canterbury Arena. CBS Arena reopened in March, however the other three venues remain closed. There is uncertainty about the future of Christchurch Town Hall, which will remain closed until at least the end of 2013. We'll bring you more on this later in the week. And Pete Smith spoke to Anthony Goff on City Life about the latest updates from the Red Zone and what's happening with Canterbury businesses.
So tell me, those people that are operating the bars and whatnot on the terrace, they're very keen to get back into action.
Extremely keen, yes. We need to be able to get them in so that they can actually do some refits within their place, because obviously there's been a lot of damage internally, a lot of damage externally. We're at the moment doing full engineering assessments, and then we submit those to the insurance company. They give the tick or whatever's necessary, and we rush in with rows of contractors to repair those buildings.
How's access for you personally?
Terrible. I've had 3 official visits within the Red Zone. We won't talk about the unofficial ones. At the moment I've got a 1-month pass pending, sitting there waiting for an application so I can get into these buildings.
A lot of gossip and rumour going around, Anthony. I'm sure you've heard of it as well. Probably you've caused probably some of it, just to feed it. Yeah. But tell me, the proposal when the rebuild happens, height restrictions, what are they talking?
Well, there's a lot of gossip, but there's nothing firm out there. I actually think people will get over it. To me, I don't see a problem with going to 10 stories. The actual building height is actually only 5 or 6 stories is your plot ratio. So if you're going to build higher than that, you've actually got to do step backs or podiums and build a smaller footprint. So our actual plot ratio is only 6-to-1 in Centre City.
As an owner landlord, what's your thoughts regards if an entire block is demolished, of a group of owners and landlords got together and said, we will develop this site? Do you think that'll happen?
I think it will in some cases, yes. I'm currently talking to, there's 2 different areas. One is around the City Mall. Like, I have a meeting with Nick Hunt this afternoon, and he owns a substantial part of the block which runs from Colombo Street to Oxford Terrace. So between him and myself and my brother, we have probably 80% of that block. So we're talking actively together. There's another one, the Poplars Apartment Hotel. I'm talking to both my neighbours either side because all our buildings are going to come down. That's on the corner of Madras and Chester Street East.
So when we look at land values, to make it more viable, is it better with numbers so that you get a bigger piece of dirt to deal with?
Possibly, but you also get a great deal of landscaping, and you can actually make it so that you perhaps have one car parking zone rather than 3 different or 4 different ones. So those are the sort of...
But then one of the owners would have to give up the right to build on there if it's going to be just an open space, wouldn't they?
Well, it's possible that you combine all your things and create one company.
Yeah.
And you have shareholding that's representative of your original holding.
Because you've been in it a long time, and this has really got to exercise your mind where to from here, doesn't it?
Yes, but I always say, hey, when one door closes, another one opens. This is a land of opportunities, and there's some fantastic opportunities.
I think it's just
there.
going to be absolutely wonderful. I really do. Potentially what could happen. Let's have a look at some of the photos you brought in, though, mate, because it's fascinating having a look at this.
Right. So first of all, we'll have a look at, if we can see these photos. Right, you'll see this little house here. This is Shan's Emporium, which I showed a couple of weeks ago. We own that. It was built in 1851, and it looks pretty good, okay. It looks okay, but the unfortunate thing is that, in fact, Sarah gave us notice to either demolish, they would demolish or make good. And that's the sort of worrying thing. You've always just got to be on your toes. We want to get in and repair it, but I haven't got my pass yet. It's a bit hard to go and repair it when you don't have a pass. But it's safe, folks. It's not coming down. Just thought I'd show you. This is Cashel Street, straight after the earthquake. You'll see there's 3 buildings there. The middle one used to be 3 stories and the top fell off it. A person died either side of that, and 2 on the street. That's Trocadero Bakeries, the faraway one. Those should be coming down next week. So, and this is actually what they look like right now. So it's been tidied up on the road. This is what the back area looks like. See how there was 3 stories? You can see the cantilevered roof that sort of swung around up the top there. So that's the sort of thing we're having to deal with. I just thought I'd show you this. This is further down Cashel Street. This is one of the only 2 demolitions happening in the City Ball.
Just on that, Anthony, it's interesting too, though, isn't it, that Whitcoulls building got very badly smacked way back in September.
Correct. And then, as you can see, the side of Whitcoulls up there, it's totally fallen away inside. And the left of us there, that's the Weekly Press building. That's all coming down right at this moment. So it's one of the only 2 demolitions happening in the red zone right at this moment. So there'll be a big clearance in City Mall, Cashel Street. This building's an interesting one. If you look in the centre of the photo, that's actually the Harcourt's Grenadier building. If you look on the right of it, you'll see it's all collapsed, it's fallen down. That collapsed on Monday from the earthquake. And everything you see in that photo, including the building on the left, the glass one on the right, perhaps not the toilet in the front, but everything else will be demolished, including that tall building behind. So we'll see very few buildings between Latimer Square and the Avon River on Madras Street. There'll be only 2 small 2-storey buildings left on the west side and 1 house on the right side. Otherwise, everything will go. So there'll be big areas of the city that will be flat. Now, this is a bit of a picture of what we could have in the City Mall. We're looking, this is on our land, right behind the terrace bars and restaurants, and Cashel Street's on the right. We're looking at creating what you might call greenhouses, and they'll be very light and airy, but double-skinned, air-conditioned, they'll look fantastic, and this is an incubation for retailing. And then on the business side, oh, I've just lost all those, haven't I? Here we go. This picture here, this is actually showing the construction of the Westpac Business Park that's happening beside the ASB Arena. And if you see, this is a huge structure, 40 metres wide. I think it's about 100 metres long. And inside that will be offices for about 5 years, where is, again, a holding pattern for people.
Just on that, Anthony, what style of tenant do you see going in there?
Small businesses. So people who have perhaps got half a dozen people, they're going to actually build...
Not retail?
No, not retail at all. That's just business parks.
Right.
So they will be actually building inside that building separate offices, so you won't actually see that structure when you go inside at all.
From your point of view, and we've got to wind up, but from your point of view, you'd love to see those people come back into the city at some stage, wouldn't
Yes, and I think they will.
Yeah.
I'm ever so hopeful. We'll be in there. We'll be making sure it all happens.
What a great positive note.
welcome back. Pete Smith hit the streets today in Street Talk to ask, why are not as many people getting married?
Statistics New Zealand have released figures showing that more and more couples in New Zealand are opting never to marry. The Street Talk question today is, why is that? Why is it not fashionable to be married any longer? We're going to ask Canterburyans what their view is.
Well, you'd have to ask a young couple, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but you believe in marriage, or?
Well, I'm not married myself, so I'm probably the last one you should ask.
Good on you, thank you.
My wife said there's Christian people around. We got married because of a church and so forth, and it stuck. Had faith there, and we stuck together.
Yeah, no regrets?
No regrets, no.
No.
I got lovely kids.
And you think really...
Great grandkids.
Yes.
Yeah.
You think they really should get married, do you? If they've got kids particularly?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a stickability there, and we need...
It's a commitment, isn't it?
It's a commitment. We need long-term commitment.
Dead right.
With each other. And I heard one mother with kids from 3 different fathers.
Oh dear.
Imagine that's on the wireless a few minutes ago.
Good on you.
Imagine the mess.
Imagine the mess. Thanks.
And lawyers have fun.
Thanks very much indeed.
I don't know. Nobody to take out the trash, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, why would they not want to marry?
I don't know. Maybe because of the what's the law that's in that you can still get? It's like a marriage, isn't it? When you live together.
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, you can still get half, can't you?
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
But why
so
wouldn't
maybe
they make the
is
commitment?
I've got no idea because I am married, so I wouldn't know why
And
people
you
are
enjoy
scared.
being married?
Yes, it's the same as being single, so I
Yeah.
don't really understand why people.
And
you
have
know,
you got
in
children?
a partnership, we do have children.
Yeah, so for their sake, I think.
Yeah, because I think for children it would be quite hard, especially when they're young, to say, you know, mummy and daddy is normally married in a normal story. And
Whereabouts
then
in
all
South
of a
Africa are
sudden-
you from?
Cape Town.
Cape Town, beautiful
Yes.
place, Cape Town,
Beautiful,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. No
How long have you been out
earthquakes
here?
there. 10 years now.
10 years.
Yes.
And did you bring your husband with you? Or
No, I met him here.
you met him at Kiwi Boy?
Yes.
Oh, look, that's
yes.
why you enjoy being married.
I know.
They're much better than
probably.
South African men.
That's probably true.
Good on you. Thanks very much.
Right, thank you.
Why wouldn't they want to get
I
married?
don't know.
Why wouldn't they want to get married?
Oh, they will eventually.
No, they say they're not going to.
Hey? Oh, well, that's fine.
You reckon? What if they have children and all?
Oh, well, they won't get married either.
Well, I can understand that.
Why is that?
I don't think I want to get married either.
Really? So you're a single man?
I'm a single man, yeah.
Good Lord. But what, do you want babies or?
Oh, I've already done that.
Oh, you've done
Been
that?
there, done that.
So you've been married?
I've been married,
It
yes.
didn't work?
Yeah. No, it didn't
No.
work out, no.
All right, so you're
But-
saying, well, good on them.
Yeah, basically.
Why is that? Well, I suppose it's too expensive.
Is that, you
So they
could be
live-
money.
Live together.
But what if they have children?
Well, that's when they sometimes try and get married.
Well, they're saying they're not going to.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. I think that's a shame.
Yeah, I do too. I don't
Yeah.
agree with this.
No, you're married?
I am very happily. For
That's right. How
30
many
odd-
years?
Oh, 40 odd years.
40 odd years. Well, you're living proof it works.
It does.
Good
Well,
on-
it's much better to be married, I think.
Good on you. Thanks, my dear.
Okay.
Well, maybe they see it as a tradition rather than an economic necessity these days.
What about commitment, though?
Well, a lot of them, I think, would say that they don't need a legal piece of paper to provide the commitment.
And what about when they have children?
Ditto?
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
think they need to be married?
Not these days, if they don't want to be.
Their children would understand?
I would think so, yes.
It's not a bad institution, though, is it?
No, maybe not.
No. Suits it. Not everyone, though, does it?
No, and
No.
I think certainly more and more people these days don't want to make that very long-term commitment because the stats say that the marriages won't necessarily last.
Yeah,
So why tie yourself up
Good
to that
point.
extent?
Well done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because everyone's cheating on each other.
That's. I was just about to say that.
Cheating on each other.
It is.
We
It's
haven't
the
had that
new
one.
kids
It is.
these days.
No.
Yeah.
You got to realise, you know.
But what if they have kids?
Well, it doesn't matter if they have kids. You know, sexual desire comes first, doesn't it?
So they just do a runner?
They
Yep.
do.
Is
That's,
that right?
that's what
It
that
does.
is.
You boys are not going to get married.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get married in the future.
We're still young.
We're still
Yeah.
young, you know.
Yeah.
But when you do, you won't do a runner.
What's
No,
the point
no.
of doing running? You know, you leave your kids behind, don't you?
Now, that's good thinking. But why aren't other people doing that then? Getting
But-
married.
It's selfish.
Oh,
Clearly selfish.
No commitment.
No commitment. That's what most people. I'm not saying we're like that,
No.
but
Hell's
some
no.
people are like
Oh, I wouldn't think you were at all. You both look very committed to each other.
Oh,
We
we're
are.
completely,
that.
completely handsome,
Man's
aren't we?
got to go way back, all right?
Is that
We got
right?
way back.
Yeah.
How far back?
Long enough back.
Long
We
enough.
won't go there, will we?
We won't.
Well, if you two do decide to get married, good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, but we're not.
Especially if it's to each other.
What do you mean? See, this is what we're talking about. I want to marry this guy, and he's just like, nah.
Is that right?
You know?
Just turned you down.
He just turned me down.
I did.
On camera
Why?
as well.
Because I'm handsome.
Well,
He's handsome as well, you know?
You're on the market.
It's gonna happen. I am on the market. Ladies,
what's happening then? Is this over?
You're
I really
gone.
don't know.
You're
I
gone.
think I'm gone.
There's no easy way
Are
to
you
say it,
single?
Ian. You've been dropped.
Are you single?
No.
Oh,
come on, son.
Wow.
I'd snap you up if I was.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
All right.
Thank you.
You guys have a nice day.
Finally tonight, the government says it's close to announcing what areas of Christchurch cannot be rebuilt. We'll bring you the latest news on this as we hear it. And that's CTV News. I'm Emily Cooper.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.